This video is brought to you by Mack Weldon Clothing, antimicrobial. Wolverine is considered by many to be unkillable, but if that's the case, why has he been killed so many times? I bloody got ya, caught in a web of ironclad logic. Wait, adamantium-clad logic. Wow, this video, already it couldn't be going any better. So to tie into, Logan or whatever, which could very well be the final Hugh Jackman Wolverine performance, let's talk 6 ways the character can be killed. Let's go! Let's get into it! We're going! Wolverine having been killed multiple times isn't unusual for any comic book character, but you would think a guy with his power set, unbreakable skeleton, rapid healing factor, and abs would be a bigger pain in the ass to put down. But it's been proven that sometimes it doesn't take much. In the Days of Future Past comic book storyline, a single blast from a Sentinel completely obliterated him. I mean, it was the future, and maybe he's been weakened with age. What do I know? But a similar thing actually happened in the X-Men cartoon series that covered the same arc. You see that there? That killed him. He's dead. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but we don't know what happens because after this scene, it immediately cuts to the past. So maybe he's fine. Except we do know, because in the follow-up episode, we go back to the future, like the movie. Just a sec, do you think it's weird that movie's not called Back to the Present? I'm sure this has been said before, but I guess it has something to do with, from the perspective of the 50s, then yeah, the 80s is the future. Movies are... What are they doing? But yeah, that's Wolverine's skeleton. He did not get up. Right, so we know from the movies and comics that a surefire way to kill Wolverine is to remove his healing factor. This has happened a number of times, including the lead up to the events of Death of Wolverine and in The Wolverine, where he got a little robot squid right on his heart. How does that work? Who knows? Not this guy. I've never claimed to be an expert on hearts or tiny heart-hugging squid robots. So without his healing factor, yeah, he can be killed. Vital organs can be ruptured. A kick to the balls would have long-lasting effects in terms of he'll probably just kind of stumble a bit and then he'll just kind of remain there, just, catch his breath. Standard stuff. But let's say he's got all these powers and abilities. They're in full effect. I'm talking like how you can cut right through him with a sword and he'll heal instantly, or how sometimes he's just reduced to a skeleton and he can somehow recover from that. Look, his healing factor is all over the shop. I never said it wasn't, and if you accuse me of that, well, let me just tell you this. You might be right. Maybe I said something about it in a previous video. I don't know. Okay, so here's something that might not kill him outright, but I tell you this, if you manage to nail it, he'd never get up. Take a gun, any gun, preferably something automatic, put it to his eye socket where he has 0 adamantium, and just empty a clip into his brain. Maybe a dozen or so clips. But basically, you want his head to be just brimming with discarded bullets. Then you make sure you seal up the gaps in his skull, eyes, nose, whatever. And as a result of this, the inside of his head, which commonly houses the brain, wouldn't be able to heal with all those bullets just wedged in there. I mean, if you shook him and kind of, emptied him out like a gumball machine, sure, he'd bounce back, but just don't. He'd be like that forever. It's horrible. Yes, I'm not proud of coming up with that, but I'll be damned if that wouldn't work. You know what else would work? An adamantium-coated steamroller. Now, apparently when adamantium is heated up, it can break room temperature adamantium. So if you manage to get your steamroller up to a reasonable temperature, then yeah, you could just squash him flat. Now, he survived having the metal ripped from his body, and as a result of this, his healing factor is even faster. So to combat this, you just have to leave the steamroller on top of him. Maybe take the keys, just in case. Perhaps put a fence around the whole thing. You could pretend it's some kind of art installation for, mutant oppression or whatever. You know what? You might even be able to charge admittance. You see, in this scenario, you're making money. I mean, once you pay off the steamroller. Okay, so let's burn through some more. I said 6, but... whatever. None of this means anything. Comics aren't real. We're all gonna die. You know this. Alright, you can separate his limbs. He can't actually grow back parts of his body, as it was discovered when the Hulk tore him in half, tore him asunder, tore him in twain. And I come to think of it, I'm fairly certain if you removed his head, he'd die. And you could do that also. His spine isn't one fused piece. He's not like Tim Burton's Batman, where he can't turn his neck. And speaking of, Batman could probably beat him up. Just ask anyone who likes Batman. They're like, Batman would invent some kind of device because he's the world's greatest detective, and on the day Wolverine wouldn't stand a chance because Batman would take advantage of his rage, turning it against him. It would be an absolute massacre, but Batman wouldn't kill him because Batman doesn't kill. I love Batman. I love all his movies. Never stop making Batman movies. Just rush them all into production, regardless of quality. Here's a question though. Can a lightsaber cut through adamantium? I don't know. I don't think those universes have ever collided. But even if it couldn't cut through him, just into the brain, mate. Give it a swizzle. Probably wouldn't kill him, but he'd He'd hate it. You could also have a walk on a thin sheet of ice competition. His adamantium weighs 100 pounds. He'd just fall right in, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't kill him, but you'd win that competition. I'm clearly running out of ideas. You know what? You could emotionally hurt him. Be like, no girls like you, mate. Jean Grey chose Cyclops, and she's occasionally an insane fiery space bird, and he's boring. Actually, you know what? I like Cyclops. I feel like there's a lot more that could be done with the character. The movie version, at least. Maybe I'll make a video on it. I'll call it Cyclops is alright. Just give him a chance, and he'll prove to you that he can be both the leader and a real stickler for the rules, but still a pretty okay guy with his own adventures. Alright, where we at in this? Oh, that's right. Buy some Mack Weldon clothes. I mean, if you want. I don't want to pressure anyone. But they do have sweet looking hoodies, underwear, undershirts, t-shirts, polos, socks, sweats. And they're this thing called antimicrobial, which basically means they don't smell weird after, you've worn them all day. They also fit really well. I got a bunch of them and it's really good quality. They made me the man I am today. I mean, not really. That was more of my upbringing, probably genetics and I guess, personal sphere of influence. But if you are interested, feel free to visit mackweldon.com and use the offer code Mr. Sunday Movies, all one word, for 20% off your purchase. All that's linked below. It's genuinely good stuff. Like I said, check it out if it's a thing, you want some clothes or whatever. Okay, I feel like I got a bit of time up my sleeve here. And I don't know if you know this, but the ideal length of a YouTube video is 10 minutes. And there's a reason for that. A 10-minute video means it immediately becomes more visible to the YouTube algorithm. And the reason for that is you can hit suggested placements in the monetization options, and then YouTube will put an ad or a couple of ads in the middle, resulting in more money for both the creator, but more importantly, the gods of YouTube, or whatever insane rabble is running this circus. So in order to get over that 10-minute time cap, I'm going to put together a compilation of all the times Wolverine has been hurt. And if that's not enough time, or I get bored because I'm sick of scrubbing through X-Men movies, I'll just edit in whatever, because who cares? And at the end, there's a Loot Crate giveaway. I do it every week. All right, let's go!
He's alive. He's alive.
Get this out of your way.
Wasn't that a good thing that I did? Okay, here's the winner of last week's Loot Crate. Just private message me these details if you are that person, and it's all yours. And if you want to win next week's crate, just leave any comment below. But specifically, I'd love to hear about all the creative ways that you could defeat Wolverine, potentially. Also, I have a podcast called The Weekly Planet. That's linked below. Comes out every Monday and we talk all things movies and comics and TV shows. And if you're into all of that, maybe you'll be into the podcast. But regardless, thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. Take care. Wait, did we make it? Is that over 10 minutes? Okay, now we're good. I'm really gone this time. Goodbye.